Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Progress Wrestling Reviews here at BC WrestlePod. Of course, my name is Mikey, and I am one of your co-hosts to be covering this event from the UK as always. You're getting a pre-record because it is really late. I am super tired at the time of this recording. And yeah, but I'm super excited to be reviewing Noisy Neighbors, which is chapter 186. And this event was a lot of fun. I will admit there were a lot of changes. Apparently, there are a couple of wrestlers who are still not medically cleared, but everything is now building up as we are heading into Vendetta in 2 weeks, which is going to be a lot of fun. And I cannot wait to talk about that. But before I get into Noisy Neighbors, just a quick refresher. If you like what you see here, you can subscribe to the YouTube or follow us on Twitch or Kick. We also are available on all social media platforms at BC WrestlePod, and we have merchandise available at our shop, bcwrestlepodshop.fourthwall.com. So, without further ado, let's just get into it. Noisy Neighbors. It was an event that took place in the O2. Which, is out of the norm because we are usually in the electric ballroom for Progress, which is a lot of fun. I'm going to give my quick thoughts here before I break it down match by match. Overall, Noisy Neighbors was a really strong show, and I really enjoyed it. However, Progress, I love you to death, but we need to fix the audio issues because commentary is fine, but when anyone is on the microphone cutting a promo in the ring, or even with our host with the most, Mr. Jerry Blakewell, we need to fix what's going on with the audio. The second half of the show did a lot better, but I could barely hear Simon Miller's promo. I couldn't hear anything of it. And anybody who cut a promo during the first half of the show, it really, really slowed things down. Ultimately, though, I still enjoyed the show and the wrestling as always carried, but it's those little production things that we kind of need to get ahead of. But now that I get that out of the way, let me get into all the matches that occurred because, again, this card definitely changed a lot due to people not being medically cleared, and we got some surprises, and I can't wait to talk about all of them. So let's begin. We kick things off with this particular match. We get Tom Thelwell taking on a returning Luke Jacobs. The last time we saw Luke Jacobs here in Progress was him losing the Progress Men's Championship to our current champ, Man Like Derice, in that TLC match back at 100 volts in August. So it's been really nice to see Luke, and I missed him in the Progress, wrestling realm. I know he's had other matches on other independent promotions, but it's really nice to see him back in Progress. And honestly, I thought this match was a really strong start to the rest of the night. Again, this is as British wrestling can be. It was hard hitting. There was a lot of catch style wrestling, and it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. I am unfamiliar with Tom Thelwell, but I've really come to enjoy him, and I'm definitely going to be following for him. And I mean, come on, it's Luke Jacobs. Luke Jacobs is fantastic, and he's amazing. It is, of course, to nobody's surprise that Luke Jacob picks up the victory here with not one, but two Northern suplexes to seal the deal. And afterwards, Luke Jacobs shows Tom Thelwell a sign of respect. And honestly, I want to see Tom more in Progress. I really hope that a lot of these newer folks that we're seeing in Progress stick around for a little bit because I want to see where they go and have some fun with it as well. So after this, we get a promo from the internet darling, our favorite bald-headed wrestler reviewer turned wrestler, Simon Miller. From what I was able to hear, he is unfortunately not medically cleared to fight, but he still addresses his Vendetta opponent, Charlie Sterling. And Charlie comes out and gives Simon Miller a low blow for his troubles. So we are setting that up for Vendetta. So thankfully, Simon is going to be wrestling there, and I look forward to that match. Because Simon Miller was unable to fight at Noisy Neighbors, we had to figure out who was going to face, Adam Maxted for Noisy Neighbors. And, well, we didn't have to find out for long. So again, originally it was supposed to be Simon Miller versus Adam Maxted, but Adam gets on the mic. He's like, you know what? Simon Miller can't fight me, but I'm ready to fight whoever comes through that curtain. And lo and behold, we get the return. Well, not necessarily a return, but it's been a hot minute. We get Ethan Allen coming back to take on Adam Maxted. And again, I love Ethan. I think he's a really good wrestler. That British strong style is nuts to watch. And again, this is not Adam's first time here. He's been popping up in a couple of the shows. He is the Love Island UK star turned wrestler. And honestly, he's doing pretty good. And I want to continue to see more of Adam. We need more heels in Progress like this, which is a lot of fun. But damn, I've missed Ethan Allen in the Progress ring. And to nobody's surprise, he does pick up the victory over Adam. And I'm hoping that Ethan sticks around a little bit. When Luke Jacobs lost the championship in August, we kind of saw a little less of Ethan Allen too. But I'm glad that both Ethan and Luke Jacobs are looking to come back to Progress. And who knows, we might see them at Vendetta and we might see them at Unboxing. Who is to say? But this was a fantastic match between Ethan Allen. Ethan Allen again defeats Adam Maxted. And we roll on into the next match, which, this match was also really, really good. Noisy Neighbors did a really good job of setting up, people we haven't seen in a couple of chapters, but I'm glad they're back. So we get this next match. This is Kid Lycos taking on Tate Mayfairs. Kid Lycos, of course, coming off of losing the Progress Tag Team Championships with him and, Kid Lycos too. And yeah, the heelish demeanor of Kid Lycos is still there. He's being, overconfident. He's being cocky, and I love it. And you know what? It's really good to see Tate back here. Tate Mayfairs is one of those people that, since watching Progress at the beginning of this year, that I've fallen in love with his style. I think he's really good. And here in Progress, he's pretty good at playing a babyface. I know in other places he tends to lean more heel, but it's really nice to see him play the tweener or the, kind of babyface here, which is great. Kid Lycos is a fantastic wrestler, and I wasn't in doubt that him and Tate were going to have not have a good match. And this was a really good match, but damn, Tate took it really crazy. I think Tate was a little bit more aggressive, which I really liked seeing. And you know what? By the end of this, Tate beats Kid Lycos, and it sets up him versus Manlight Durice for the Progress Men's Championship at Vendetta. So I am ecstatic. So I thought this was a really fun match. This was really good. Glad to see Tate get a win and also to have him back in Progress. And I'm very interested to see where Kid Lycos and Lycos Gym go heading into Vendetta and Unboxing. We wrap up the first half of Progress with our first title match, which is for the Progress Women's World Championship. Of course, we have the champion who is only a few weeks into her reign, Miss Rain Leverkusen, taking on her first challenger in Session Moth Martina. I want to give flowers to Session Moth because she always ends up playing the heel, and she plays the comedy character to Gene Money and all this stuff. But what I really, really, really enjoy is that despite all that, I think Session Moth is such a fantastic wrestler, and she deserves her flowers. And of course, I am a big fan. I've been falling in love more and more with Rain Leverkusen since the beginning of this year. And I said it at Jump in the Line. Her and Rio's match was probably my favorite match of the whole entire event. And I was so happy and pleasantly surprised to see her beat Rio to become the new Progress Women's World Champion. And now she's putting this championship on the line, and she had a successful title defense. Rain retains the Progress Women's World Championship against Session Moth Martina, and this was a fantastic bout from both of them, and I'm very happy. And this was in the top for me. I really, really enjoyed this match. So we get a bit of a break where we find out. Well, not find out. We learned that come February, we are getting the For the Love of Progress 4, which is super exciting. And I will break it down in a little bit at the end of the show, but Progress gave us what their, calendar is going to look like for next year, which I'm super excited. But we come back from break and then we begin the second half of chapter 186. Again, we were supposed to get Chris Ridgway versus Scott Oberman, but Chris Ridgway is still not medically cleared to compete. So we get a Scott Oberman promo talking about how Chris Ridgway not being here is such a slap in the face. He's being a heel. And again, Scott is ready for a match. And we come to find out that Scott Oberman would be facing one of my personal favorites from GCW and the independent scene in general, and Mr. Drew Parker. I freaking love Drew. I think he is fantastic. He is such a good wrestler. And honestly, this was also in my top for me. So we would get Drew Parker versus Scott Oberman. Again, I am new to Scott Oberman. I have no idea who he is, but I instantly became a fan after this match. And him and Drew Parker threw down, and this was a really good showcase of British wrestling and new folks to me. And of course, I would say that I want to see Scott more, and we will, because Scott is going to be competing at Vendetta. Progress is doing really good of introducing new folks to me. Again, I'm not a diehard British wrestling fan, so I don't know all the ins and outs, but Progress is doing a lot of good stuff, and I'm super excited, and I'm having a good time watching everyone. So Scott Oberman does defeat Drew Parker, but man, this was a really good match, and this was a lot of fun. Then from here, we get into our next one. This is RPD, MMA boxing legend in the UK scene turned wrestler, taking on your favorite twat, Charles Crowley. I have said it once before, and I will continue to say it till the cows come home. Charles Crowley is one of those wrestling characters that on paper shouldn't work because it's kind of dumb, really. But I love some dumb stuff in wrestling, and I love his character of him being the amazing twat, and it is hilarious to me. So funny enough, this match was because Charles Crowley was looking for a challenge, and he wanted to fight anyone and everyone, and so RPD stepped up, and then, this is how it was made. This was fantastic. I know there's a lot of discourse between MMA folks going into professional wrestling, like that pipeline has been established for quite some time. But I really enjoy RPD. I think he's fantastic. I think he has more ring awareness than a lot of the MMA folks that tend to get into wrestling at the beginning stages. And it's really, really good. But you know what? It's Charles Crowley. Charles Crowley gives us shenanigans, eye pokes, hitting people with his hat, just being a twat, and it is hilarious to watch. But Charles Crowley would end up getting the victory here by, not by making RPD pass out in a submission hold, which is really, really fun. I hope that we get to see Charles Crowley go into some sort of championship scene. I know that Paul Walter Hauser still holds the Atlas Proteus Championship. And of course, with Paul Walter Hauser busy filming stuff and things like that, I would really love to see Charles Crowley get that. And I thought him and Simon Miller were going to feud for a little bit longer, but I guess not. But that's okay. But Charles Crowley securing a win finally in what seems like forever, and it's really nice to see to continue that momentum for him. In your semi-main event, this was the Battle of the Beef. This was for the Progress Atlas Championship. So this is your big boy title in Progress Wrestling. We have our current champion, Will Cruz, taking on Rev Pro's Jay Joshua. And this was my first real introduction to Jay Joshua's wrestling. This man goes ham. Man, German suplexing Will Cruz, just being a complete beast, destroying Will Cruz left and right. This was a battle of the big boys, and Will Cruz showed receipts and fired back at Jay. This is probably my second favorite match of the entire night, to be quite honest. And I love Will Cruz as champion so far. It's been a very fun story this year, getting him to become champion. And now he's defending this thing and fighting everyone. He had a 4-way at Mystery Wrestling about a month ago, which was fun. And then him and Jay Joshua threw down. Honestly, this was a really good match. Will Cruz does retain the Atlas Championship. And I'm very excited to see who his next opponent is and where we go. And I'm going to keep following Jay Joshua. I know he wrestles a lot on Rev Pro. So I think I might be checking out some Rev Pro to see him and some of the other folks over in Rev Pro as well, which makes me super excited. But again, this was just a straight Haas match, and I'm glad that we got this. And it was really smart to put this at the main event, or semi-main event, I should say. And this was a really, really fun time. Now, the moment we all been waiting for, let's get into our main event. The main event of Noisy Neighbors is Blackheart Lio Rush taking on this new version of Cara Noir. I am unbiased. No, I'm biased in saying this, and I don't care. Everyone who has been following us and watching our progress reviews since the beginning of this year knows that I love me some Cara Noir. This is what happens when you turn a theater kid into a wrestler and you give him the Black Swan as the wrestling character, and it is fantastic. But what I love is that, of course, Blackheart Lio Rush's character is a little bit on the darker side. We have the mask, we have the makeup, we have the black ink coming out of his mouth. And who better than, this reinvented, vindictive version of Cara Noir to do so? This match was nuts. We had speed. We had throwing people through chairs. We had dives. We had some hard hits. This was such a good main event. And I think it's a testament to both Cara Noir and Lio Rush. Cara Noir would end up being Lio Rush in this one. And I don't know, man. I don't know if it's going to happen this year or next year, but after last chapter at Jumping the Line, where, Man Like Derice and those black feathers, I think we're going to see Cara Noir and Man Like Derice collide. So at some point, if not at unboxing, at some show in 2026, which has me super excited. But that was Progress Wrestling Noisy Neighbors. Overall, again, despite the audio issues, I think Noisy Neighbors was a success, and it was such a fun show, and I had a blast with it. So before I wrap up for the night, I do have some stuff to go over, and we have learned, earlier in the week, Progress Wrestling dropped their 2026 lineup for all the shows at the Electric Ballroom, and we got a lot of them. So we are pretty much getting a Progress Wrestling show every single month except for April, but that is okay. And everything is kind of gonna be crazy. So we have a show January 25th, February 15th, March 29th, May 3rd and 4th, which I'm gonna assume is the Super Strong Styles 16 tournament, which has me excited. July 26th, August 31st, September 27th, October 25th, November 29th, and December 30th. So outside of June and April, we pretty much have a Progress Wrestling show. And that is a total of 11 shows, which is crazy to me. Well, I mean, Super Strong Style is one event, but carried over 2 days, but I digress. I'm excited to see Progress in 2026 in terms of seeing where we go, who's going to be here. And Progress has been a lot of fun to cover this year, and I look forward to continue to cover it into next year. Well, that's going to be it for me here tonight. Thank you so much for watching me go over and review Chapter 186, Noisy Neighbors for Progress Wrestling. The next time you will see me for Progress will be actually in 2 weeks, as I will be reviewing Chapter 187, Noisy Neighbors, which has me super excited and very enthralled for what's to come at Vendetta. Oh, sorry, I said Noisy Neighbors. But I will be here to review Vendetta 3. And then the next time we'll have Progress review is in the new year and the beginning of January with unboxing, which is going to be fun. But we still got a lot of fun stuff happening the remainder of the week. Tomorrow evening at 7:30 p.m. Pacific, the TNA crew is going to be here to review Turning Point, which is TNA's second to last pay-per-view of the year. And honestly, despite the crazy things that have happened in TNA, I will personally say that Turning Point delivered in areas, but I'm interested to see what other things are going to go down. And then, of course, on Saturday, we have a double header in which in the morning at 9 a.m. Pacific, I will be here with my friend Benny to review Defy Wrestling's Aeon 2. And then we will both be back later at 5 p.m. Pacific to review or to watch AEW Full Gear, which has me really excited as well. And I'm looking forward to that. And it's going to be a fantastic time. And I cannot wait for that. And then we wrap everything up on Sunday, leading into Thanksgiving break with our WWE review as we review Raw and SmackDown. And then we will be doing our predictions for Survivor Series, which I can't believe is next Saturday. So that's going to be a whole lot of fun. But that's going to be it for me here. So from all of us here at BC WrestlePod, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay Bi-Conic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. I'll see you tomorrow for TNA's Turning Point at 7:30 p.m. Pacific. But until then, sayonara, adios, and until next time, peace.